You know what time it is. Positive Vibes, PVM TalkShow. Live, Sunday night, one half of the fraction. I go by the name of Dante Dash Smith. Guys, thank you for tapping in and joining another episode with us tonight. Tonight, we're about to be joined by a very, very, very special guest, Revive POC from Revive Radio. So we're going to be able to talk to this amazing talent and get the scoop on what is it like, being a black woman radio personality nowadays. So guys, this interview, this conversation, this gonna be enjoyable. But what's the vibes for y'all? How are y'all Sunday going along? So let me pin up this topic. I think tonight we meet, and I'm gonna bring in our guests as well as our co-host, and get this whole thing started, get this whole situation started. So, guys, what is the energy today? I know it's dreary and rainy outside, but we about to liven things up and, have a little fun tonight. Have a little fun. Let me pin up this comment. Let me send a few invites to everybody as we get this party started. Revive, POC, Jeide, when y'all ready, send me the invites. I'll bring y'all into this as well. See that both y'all done entered the room. It's been a beautiful Sunday to start the day. I ain't even gonna hold you guys. Eagles did their thing earlier today, made me a happy man. Fly Eagles fly. Got to spend some time with my loved ones. Got to get some necessary rest throughout the day. Talk about it. Even better. So I'm just having a slight little issue. There we go.
Oh,
How you doing, love?
peace, how are you?
Good. I'm
Go
good.
together. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sounding good to me right now. How do I sound to you?
Everything's good. I'm
Oh,
good. I'm
okay.
happy to be back. It's been a minute since I've seen you and like had this conversation last time. You
I
know,
know, right?
last
Last
time
time.
so
Peace.
good
What's going on?
for us. What's up with you? How are you?
All love, all love. Life
Uh,
is good and God is good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to be on, ready to talk my so get some things off my chest. I seen the topics that he sent me, so I was like, yeah, this should be a good topic.
Jenny, did I send it to you? I wasn't completely sure. I hope I did, but I wasn't
Mm,
completely sure. I know I was all over the place this week.
it's all good. I got a good glimpse of what we're gonna talk about, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna do my little hopping, hopscotching, and double dutching in and out. We gonna make sure this thing is fruitful as it should be. You dig?
But before we get into the topic, I do want the people to kind of get like a reintroduction to who you are, for those who missed our last live, because we didn't get the chance to post the last time, slight technical difficulties, So for those who missed the last episode, guys, this is Revive POC, Revive, the people. Before we get into the topic too much, what inspired you to want to have your own radio station, to be your own personality network, like what influenced this all for you? Ooh, wait a minute. Did her camera freeze? Oh, yes, it did. Uh, Let me see if I could bring her back in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I
Okay,
can.
perfect. I'm like, what the hell just happened? All right. Can you? You have to go all the way back because I couldn't hear, see none of that.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So I said, what inspired you to get into media to begin with and, to start Revive Radio? What was the inspiration behind that?
Um, Straight passion. So not to give it like a long drawn out story, but it started from an internship, and my mentor from with my internship, really just helped and guided me and molded me into, really wanting to put forth the effort to, want to do my own thing. Coming into media back in like 2015, 2016, you had to have a resume that reflected what you were doing. Content creating was not necessarily as big as it is now, so people can just take experiences based off the amount of followers or things and such like that you have. So back when I first started, not to sound like I'm all old or whatever, but when I first started, we had to go through internship programs and stuff like that. So my internship program really jump started everything for me.
Okay.
And what were the voices that stood out to you to, kind of influenced your style, or help cultivated your way of doing things?
You mean back then or now?
You can give us both, if it's changed since then.
Oh yeah, definitely. So like when I first started, she's still my shero, to the end of this day. But Ida B. Wells was like a really big um bonus for me, being educated about what she did, the things that she pioneered, the things that she started. She navigated all that good stuff. So she was like my real big inspiration, and she still is my super inspiration to this day. So IWS was my jump start. And then right now, you might say this is random, but I would say like DC Young Fly for real. Like he's like a real,
Okay.
real motivation, inspirational kind of like, yo, this man has really climbed the charts doing, what people would say was like clown shit. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he was able to go from Vine to doing what he's doing now is incredible. So I would say DC Young Fly is like a big motivation right now for me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is different. I like that.
Yeah.
And what inspired the name Revive?
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's a great one. Well, POC stands for proof of consciousness. So if you go to the definition of consciousness, it means to restore and revive, consciousness through everything, life, health, wellness, and all that good stuff. So when I looked up the definition of consciousness, revive really just stood out. I was like, that's what we need. We need to be able to revive the airways, revive the people through mass communication. So that's what I was on when I first started. So that's where revive was birthed from. Revive is alive. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep them alive.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that leads into today's topic, and the freedom of speech of things. So, being a media journalist, I assume like freedom of speech is very important to you. So, how did you personally feel, like when you was hearing the news about like the Kyrie situation and even to an extent like the Kanye situation? Like, how did it influence you? Like, did you feel like their voices should be kept quiet? Did you feel like, it's a point that you go too far and expressing yourself, or like how did you feel personally and professionally speaking?
Um, Delivery is everything. You know what I mean? So the way that he delivered it, um, it wasn't. People were not able to download and then be able to apply the information where I guess where he was trying to make his points. So a lot of his messages didn't get across to the masses as he wanted it to because his delivery was off. It was a lot of arrogance and a lot of ego in his actual conversation with Nori. You know what I'm saying? Is that what you're referring to, right? Or are you referring to the one
Yeah,
he did on CNN
yeah, the Nori
or
one.
Fox? I mean,
Yeah, I ain't.
CNN Fox.
Yeah, he had an active week, but I was talking about the Nori one.
Yeah, so I feel like it was a lot of ego, you know what I mean? He was around his friends, stuff like that. So I feel like his message didn't necessarily get across in a way in which he wanted people to understand him. Because I actually have a guest on my show who I do a monthly conversation with, which is the IUIC Philadelphia, which is like the Israelites here in the city of Philadelphia. And we literally had the same conversation and he broke it down, you know what I mean? And his delivery was something that people could actually understand, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you have to agree with them. I'm not saying that you have to, take any of that into consideration if that's not something you want to understand as a black and brown person, you know what I mean? So I think it's on the person who wants to actually take in that information. So yeah. But to answer the question about Kyrie, no, I don't think he was wrong at all. I love the fact that he even came out and wore the shoes the other day. You know what I mean? Like, put your logo here. Like that was fire to me. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to continue to speak up and stand for something. You know what I mean? With that, what do they say? The old quote, stand for something, you fall for anything.
Yeah,
And I think he's an example of saying he's not going to fall for anything.
and I personally love what he's been doing too. I also had a slight issue, and that's kind of what inspired tonight's conversation, especially with you. The kind of way that the media as a whole tried to control his voice
Mm-hmm.
and then tried to dictate the narrative of what he meant by reposting the link. And even after he expressed himself about and articulated what he felt, what he took from the film, and his reason for sharing it, it still was being directed where it was just like, no, we got this narrative for you. This is
But I
the
think everybody's gonna have an opinion, just like the opinions about Deion Sanders right now. I actually got my HBC. I don't know if you can see it, but I got my HBC hoodie on right now. You know what I mean? Like, so just like everyone's gonna have an opinion. You know what I'm saying? And as a businesswoman, I completely understand it. 5 mil, you're talking my language. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're having a completely different conversation. And I'm not saying Deion Sanders was not already a millionaire. He wasn't already making money because he proved when he was at JSU that money wasn't money wasn't everything, because he gave back some money. He did some budget cuts. He did so many different things to actually help out the program there. So I think everyone's going to have their opinion. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on just who we talking to at the time.
I actually don't have no problem with what Deion did. I actually got a problem with how we're treating Deion. Like, he was supposed to be like this great savior for the HBCUs, because I personally speaking, I never heard him say like he was dedicated to being an HCB coach long term. I always looked at it as like a way for him to, do what most coaches do, a stepping stone.
Go back. What kind of coach did you say? I can't let you.
HBCU.
Yes.
Stumbling over my words. My bad.
Listen, and you was not allowed to do that. You was supposed to be his co-host, and you was supposed to help him out.
Hold on. To his credit and to the credit of the flow of the consciousness of the conversation, I also have a responsibility to allow things to move in a certain direction without because with lives, it gets really muddy when too many voices try to step over. Okay. So I wasn't going to let it fly. I was listening and I was like, okay. And I was going to follow up with a question in which I would correct it. And then we was just going to, you know what I'm saying? But, my man already, he covered his ass on that.
I was like, keep going. I can't just let that slide.
Do your thing, man.
Do your thing. All love.
I'm still getting a little tongue tied, getting myself in order.
Trust me, it's all love, yo.
But yeah, like, I never heard Deion on this plat of saying like he was down for HBCUs for the long term. Like, I always viewed it as this was like a stepping stone for him to get to the position that he wanted. Honestly speaking, I think he wanted the head coaching job at Florida. Back in his playing days, that was something I always heard him speak about, at some point becoming the head coach there. So for me, I always viewed it as a stepping stone, especially when I heard the background stories about like how his office was getting robbed during games and during practices. So it's kind of hard to ask a man to stay in a place where, like, as much as I'm giving to y'all taking back from me, And like, yeah, I could want to be the big black coat, but who else is coming down here to, assist me? Because one person can only do but so much. And, like, resources are minimal, for HBCUs.
That's a way to look at it, though, for sure, because, like, I think he did do some saving. You know what I mean? Like, he cannot sit here and say that he's going to end his career at HBCU. We cannot force him to say that that's what he's going to do. But he definitely did some saving. He drew a lot of attention to the South. He drew a lot of attention to, players that never got NFL looks playing for HBCUs. NFL coaches are now coming to HBCU practices. They're now even looking at HBCU rosters just to see what's going on. Like, just in that bracket alone is doing some type of saving. So, like, I mean, he couldn't necessarily save the entire, brand of HBCUs, but I think that he did do a lot for the initial brand, or just the athletes, who are coming out of HBCUs. And then also, like, when it comes down to, talking about just him going somewhere, you got to think about who we're talking about. We're talking about primetime Deion Sanders. This man is a win. He's winning regardless. He's a legend. So he's like, I'm going to go somewhere and turn this around at another school. I'm going to show you I can do this somewhere else. I'm going to show you I can do this somewhere else. I'm going to show you I can do somewhere else. Like, that's the legacy he's trying to live. Like, he's trying to show you that he's a winner. He's trying to show you that wherever he goes, put my theme music on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the what type of time. So, like, you can't really be in somebody's dream and what they got going on for themselves. So everybody got an opinion.
Yeah, that's so true.
There's something about what we've been talking about, most especially with something that's been reiterated as far as everybody having an opinion, that I wanted to ask you a question regarding Revive. And that is, you have a platform that helps to shed light on individuals and groups and movements in and around the city. And I find it I find it sometimes even a difficult balance sometimes with PVM when we have certain guests and we may have differences of opinions, if you will, but we still have a responsibility to the platform to allow their voice to be heard. So my question to you is, where is your mind? How do you discipline yourself, or what are the steps to the disciplines that you take in having these platforms and allowing people to come unadulterated with a voice that shows that you respect freedom of speech, yet you still also retain the voice that is your own, whether it's for or against or indifferent?
I just let it be. Not to be so simple, but I just let it be what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot stop anyone from having their own opinion. That's not my job when they're coming on to Revive to be ridiculed for their opinion. You know what I mean? Them coming on is to, talk about what they got going on and what they have going on. It is my responsibility to make sure I'm fact checking what they have going on, not letting stuff slide when I'm like, yo, what you say? You know what I mean? Like, so different things of that nature. So honestly, just to answer your question straight up, just letting it be. You know what I mean? Like, but making sure that I'm doing my due diligence of a host, a reporter, or a journalist for whatever topic we are talking about. If we're doing more of a Q&A. But if it's like a conversation where I'm coming on and I'm interviewing about what you got going on, I can't really tell you much about you. You know what I mean? I just have to believe what you say, and then everyone who's listening just has to go do their research for themselves to know, like, they got the best fried chicken, or they got the best hoodies, or they the best tax broker, or whatever that may be. So.
On that. I can take on that. So, I mean, what guest has stood out to you as you've done Revive lately, or even since you've done it in the beginning, that's kind of like made you, I guess, in a sense, feel inspired doing it, or feel like you really what guest has really inspired you the most, like that you had to sit down, the chance to sit down with, that's really been like, opened your eyes to, like, whether it's a new perspective of thinking, or whatever,
That's a great question. Like, my typical answer is always Joanne McClinton, just because of where she started from and where she's at now. Like, when I first interviewed her, when she was running for just simply state rep, and now she's like the House Speaker. So for me, like, that is like really big as a Black woman, and she's the first Black woman to be the Speaker, in Pennsylvania. So for me, that's like really big, and the relationship that we have has always been there. You know what I mean? It's not like we're the best of friends or anything like that, but I know when we see each other, it's always a good time, and when I do have some questions, she's ready to answer them. So yeah, I would definitely say State Rep Joanne McClaren. I don't know because I do a lot of entertainment celebrities as well, but like you said, that stands out the most.
Yeah, whatever stands out to you, like it's not always the entertainers. Like for me, it's like a couple writers, a couple politicians, even a couple entertainers that stand out. It's just like influences for me. But it's just like whatever motivates you. You never know what the source of motivation gonna come from, or how it comes. In a way it comes. But you mentioned the opinions of others, and you mentioned allowing the guests to also express their opinions a lot. But has there ever became a time where like their opinions became too much for like their core audience, where you can like kind of see in real time, oh, this is getting a little out of hand, where I need to kind of curtail the conversation a bit, or like rein in my guests? And like if you have, like, what are the tactics that you would kind of use in that situation to kind of bring the conversation more and to give you more control over the situation?
It was definitely a learning curve. It was definitely a learning curve, because at first I thought the more people talk and make a fool out of themselves and drama was created, the more that, your ratings would go up and it'll be a thing. But eventually it makes you look more corny as well, because you're not standing in a position of what it means to be, like a truthful or honest opinionated source to go to. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of chitter chatter going on over there. So it was definitely a learning course. And then also knowing when to cut somebody off, knowing how to do it flattering, not necessarily trying to embarrass them. So you got to do it in a flattering kind of a way. So it wasn't just a learning curve for me. It wasn't something that I just knew how to do off bucks. Because sometimes I even need to be checked, as a host, based on a question that I would ask. The question that I ask can be, catty or chatty, you know what I mean? That can get somebody saying something that you shouldn't ask and things like that. So I think that it comes down to just simply knowing your guests and yeah, doing your own research before you get to that point of like interviewing that person and things like that, because you would know that this is how they carry themselves throughout interviews before, So yeah, because when you're gonna get a rapper that's not media trained, and you just sure. That was good. Yeah, that was actually fire last night, and then that was it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. My next question to you actually was in the vein of what Dash asked, but more of like the 180 of it. And that is, have you ever had an instance in which a guest found it difficult to open up and it was just kind of like a stale conversation that you had to employ certain, rhetorics and tactics to try to allow the conversation to be a lot more fruitful than what the guest was allowing it to be? And what type of influences and what type of vices and devices did you use for that?
I'm done. Especially in my career. Like, I'm done. Like, it's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting me to have this conversation with you. You know what I mean? I can see if it was like, you guys just reposted the core video, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I can see if I was interviewing someone like Core and I'm like, yo, this is really good for the city. Like, I'm going to try my best to get something out of him if he's not necessarily media trained. Not just giving an example, not saying that Core is not media trained or anything like that. Just giving an example. So I'm saying, like, if I was talking to somebody like him and he was giving me like the yay or nay, I could have simply just assessed my environment and be like, oh, he's about to go on stage. So maybe he's just, focused. So I need to redirect my questions to talk about what he's focusing on. So it really comes down to like the heat of the moment to like be, like I said, do your research and be like, know what you're doing. I can't explain it, but yeah, just know what you're doing. Like, okay, he's not talking about music, but he focused on the stage. So talk about what's about to happen on the stage. Talk about who's going to get up with him. If he's going to do some features, he's going to do some covers. Who DJing with him tonight? Like, get that type of interview versus trying to get the behind the scenes or the interview talking about his life or how he got started and all that. I would just have to turn my angle around a little bit as far as what I'm gonna talk about. So yeah. It's either I'm done or I really want it. And if I really want it, I'm gonna switch angles.
Okay. I'm surprised you had these kind of issues at times. Like, I always, because when I see your interviews, you always give off like great personality and great energy. So like, for me, it always seemed like the guests would be like more open and welcome just from that alone, to be like, all right, you know what, let me give you whatever you get, and or open up because you're so animated. You're just like, hey. Actually, while we talking about that, what inspired your intro? Because I like how you intro all your videos with the what right.
I honestly cannot call it. Like, I literally probably just said it one day, yep to the yep, and then from there just kept going, and then that's just how I started. Like, yeah, like I just started. Like, that's just how I know to start. Yeah, like I'm about to go into it. So
I'm not gonna lie, you was my Saturday night. I was repeating you all last night. I was turned up with the family, and I'm like, yep to the yep. I heard it in a couple of your videos, and it was just staying with me throughout the day. And I was like, that's catchy as hell.
And then like after people start rocking with it, I was like, it's a thing now. You know what I mean? So it's just a thing now. And I'm blessed to have a thing. Like, as somebody who is in a business of entertainment where it could be considered oversaturated. You know what I mean? Everybody looks alike. Everybody's dressed alike. Everybody's doing the same thing. So to be able to stand out and not necessarily do it on purpose, where I got a TikTok and I gotta, just do something on purpose to be seen. It didn't happen like that. It happened organically of me just being myself, and you know what I'm saying, it's something that became a thing for me. So I'm happy about that for sure. I don't take it in vain. I love it when somebody like, yo, yep, say that, yep. I love it. Like, I really do. It's a thing.
You mentioned the TikTok. TikTok. Because like, how have you been able to manage like as people become more adept to TikTok and like shorter videos and clips of content? Like, how does that work for you? Like, in a space where it's more beneficial if somebody sit with you long term so they can digest a whole interview or a whole radio session or interview. Like, how does this new wave of like where people are more obsessed with shorter media, how has that affected you, whether positive or negative?
That's a great question. I would say at the beginning, like when it first started, I was on some Panic at the Disco, like, oh my gosh, I gotta figure it out. What I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna cut it, how I'm gonna chop it. But over time, like I have to understand, like I'm not doing what everyone else is trying to do. I'm literally building a media production company. I'm building a digital media production empire. You know what I mean? When it comes down to the type of content I want to be known for, like I'm trying to be talked about like Viacom. I'm trying to be talked about like TV One. Like these are the type of conversations that I'm having. So I'm not going to settle or downplay myself about the things that I do get. So if I'm talking to somebody for 6 minutes and it's great content, I'm putting it out at 6 minutes. I can do snippets and little things like that for Instagram, but I don't own Instagram. You know what I mean? But when you come to revivelive.com, everything I do, I own it. So you're going to get 100% of the content that I have to give. You know what I mean? Especially if I created it. So I don't really try to focus on the platforms in which I don't own. I put it out there. If you accept it, you accept it. If you don't, you don't. And that's the best part about being consistent, because when you're consistent, you build a consistent brand of people who also want to be consistent with you and stay locked in with you. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, what was the biggest challenge? What has been the biggest challenge for you in building your community of followers and supporters for Revive, as far as how sometimes there could be a disconnect with this channel that we have here as far as the digital world, as far as the internet?
The biggest challenge, I think the biggest challenge for me, honestly, was the pandemic, maybe. Within my past 5 years of doing what I've been doing, going on 6, biggest challenge maybe was the pandemic. And we actually flourished during the pandemic, not to toot my own horn, but
Okay.
we flourished.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, we didn't necessarily, go in a direction in which a lot of people did go when the pandemic hit. We were able to stay alive. I figured out how to do the Instagram thing. Being on 98.5, we figured out how to do simultaneous broadcasting where I'm on the station, I'm on the dial at the same time, but you can see my voice. I mean, you can see my face on Instagram, or you can see me on Facebook and all this other stuff. So we really try to just figure it out quick. And being a millennial, shout out to YouTube, I'm on it. So I'm like, yo, what I gotta do? What chords? Boom, boom, like. So I don't necessarily know the challenge right now to answer your question specifically, but I would say like the pandemic, because like prior to the pandemic, we were everywhere. We were ripping and running. We had access to a lot of different media outlets that we were doing some big things, and then coming out of it, you had to have like the whole vaccine and all this and that. So it just made it even worse, and spaces got smaller. So I went from having 30 media outlets covering a red carpet to only 5 media outlets covering a red carpet. So it just got a little difficult, so it just depends.
Good. How did you initially open those doors to begin with? Because as you said, like this is a space where you typically need context to get into earlier. So how did you initially create those spaces where you could get on those red carpets, where you could get on 98.5 and, express your voice? So how did you, well, besides your internship, or was it all based in your internship that you was able to open those doors?
No, not at all. To answer your question, work my ass off. I worked my ass off. I was at the right place at the right time. I opened my mouth every chance that I had the opportunity of speaking. Relationships and resources are like one of the biggest things that I, have an understanding of. So yeah, I just worked my ass off, and I did not stop working. And when you, like I said, are consistent, people see it. And when people see it, they get to talking. And when other people are talking, they're like, oh, I want to meet this person. I want to know who this is. Or I saw you before somewhere. Or you're that girl. And next we're having those different kind of conversations. So, yeah, I really just worked my butt off, yo.
I can see that.
Man.
So in the vein of work, we know actually you mentioned somebody that I respect, and I'm sure that Dash resonates with it as well, DC Young Fly. And a bit of his story, a bit of his story that I really rock with is, he started off as YouTube, on the IGs, he would be making fun of people, get that ass over here, boy, all that good stuff. But when he actually got his foot in the door, he recognized that he needed to get back to the trenches. So he started going to stand-up places. He started studying people doing their crafts and whatnot, actually going up on the stage, doing stand-up as well, sharpening, getting those boos, this, that, and the third, in order to become a well-rounded comedian and not just a personality, just in one aspect. So with you, let's just say that the internship was your walk-in as far as Revive. What trenches did you have to experience after your walk-in that put you in a place, in the state of mind where you recognize that it took more than your internship for you to be able to flourish?
The entire city of Philadelphia. Like the entire city. One, I am not from Philly. I'm born in DC, raised in Glen Arm, Maryland. So when it comes down to
shout out to DMV.
so when it comes down to Philadelphia, like everything was brand new for me. You know what I mean? Like I went to Cheney University. After Cheney, I got the internship. After the internship, it was time for me to make it happen. I'm in the Lions Den with everyone else. Like so I had to meet everyone. I had to just get in. And I always say like Philly adopted me for sure. And I'm glad that by the grace of God, I'm a cool person. You know what I'm saying? Because a person from Philly will let you know if they not rocking with you, if they not, like if your energy is off, they like, yo, you not from around here. Like they will let you know that, you know what I mean? And I never got that energy from any of the rooms, the tables, the doors, all that good stuff that I was a part of. So, yeah, like I would just say the entire city of Philadelphia. Like I had to literally make my way around every inch of the city to be where I'm at right now, because it wasn't easy, and I'm not from here.
Do you feel like that transition from DC to Philly helped was like the push that you need to kind of get up into this field? Like how most people say that transition of moving from one place to another, it puts another type of animal within you, or resiliency within you that not let you fail. Do you feel like that was like another gear into why you continue to pursue your goals?
Yes and no. One, I'm a fighter, you know what I mean? Like if I want something, I'm gonna go get it, period. Like that's just who I am in general. Shout out to my mom and my dad for putting that in me. And then two, I would say, yes. Because when I first started, you know what I mean? I feel like the city did something. I feel like the city was missing something, you know what I mean? And I just felt like it was my job. It was my duty to do it. Like I just got to do something. Like I don't know where that calling came from. So I felt like it was bigger than me. So when I first started, I really just wanted to do radio. You know what I mean? I came from a radio internship. So, and when I did that, I started literally from doing social media marketing. So it's just so much, so doing the radio portion was just like, this is what I want to do. But now actually doing radio and turning that into a whole media production, company is just like, whoa, like that was never a focus of a dream. My dream was just literally to do radio.
Okay. So is it more important to you when you're doing radio to have whether it's your specific topics you want to speak on or having a guest? Like which facet of that do you enjoy more? Like the interviewing or just being on air yourself and just being able to spew whatever you're thinking and then just have the people just kind of react to your thoughts?
I want to be like a media maverick, to be honest. So I want to do every aspect of media, from producing to anchoring to hosting to commentating to being a correspondent. So even down to doing some sports. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to do a lot. So to answer your question, I want to do it all. So there's no specific type of Q&A that I want to do. No.
And what's the message behind Revive? Like we kind of been talking around it, but we never really got into like your purpose for wanting to do Revive, like your messaging behind it. Like we talked about, like you felt you were called to bring your voice to Philly, but you know, what about it now? Like it's still calling you. You know, what about it now? It's still sitting
So
on you where
live
you're
right
just like,
now.
yeah, you know,
Uh, um,
that's continually that's continuing you to push on into your pursuits, into the career path that you're in, you know, and to keep sharing your work.
like it's in me, like it's in me, on me, through me, around me, like it's stuck. So like I don't even see myself doing nothing else if it don't got nothing to do with media. Revive, like that's it's what I love to do, and I'm blessed every day. I thank God every day for being able to wake up and do what I love to do, and the fact that I created it is something that came from my mind, and I'm able to say this is mine, you know, literally mind and mind, literally.
Right on, right
Yeah.
on. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of love in the comment
Yeah,
section. People
shout out
is
to
jumping
everybody. I
up
didn't
in
want to cut off the
here.
conversation and say what's up, though, but yeah, shout out to everybody who's showing love for sure.
Yes, yes, yes,
All my folks,
yes.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, so that being acknowledged and seen and appreciated, what's a favorite moment of yours that you fortunately were able to either help to facilitate or you just by happenstance were a part of by introducing, by allowing the platform to be, or by even being present there as Revive?
I'm just gonna stay on this year. I'm gonna say being in the room with Master P. I was able to go to the Black Enterprise Summit this year, and Master P was one of the keynote speakers or the fire chat keynote speakers. And being in that presence, doing media, being able to be, you know, like physically in a space where, you know, it was not necessarily intimate, but we could hear his one-on-one conversation, was amazing. You know, Master P is someone who I've been listening to, music wise and, you know, motivational wise for a very, very long time. So, being in that room this year was like really, really big. Yeah. Like really, really big. And he dropped some really big gems, for sure.
Shout out to Master P because like that's another mind that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
I might have been a little late to the get up as far as his music. I had to do a little study when I got older into the culture or whatnot, but his mind was something that I always appreciated and respect. He
Just
was on it.
hmm And I don't know if you know who Dr. Boyce Watkins is, but
Yes.
I got to interview him this year as well. So just off-camera conversations that I had with just Dr. Boyce Watkins, I'm just like, yo, this is crazy.
How
Um,
was that?
it was the off-camera conversations was more blind-blowing than the on-camera conversations because I'm more asking more in-depth conversations off-camera. You know what I mean? So it was just like, I cannot believe I'm talking to, you know, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Like literally in West Philly. Like he was literally in the middle of West Philly having this full blown conversation. So it was cool. And I also got to interview Dr. Umar Johnson this year too. In the middle
Ooh,
of
you done listed two guys that's one of my
yeah.
favorites.
So I got a lot of conscious conversations, a lot of educational conversations in this year, as well as some entertainment. But those this year really stuck out to me.
So what's the plan for next year? Like what goals do you have in mind for Revive Radio for the upcoming year? You know,
I haven't
goals
talked
or
about
guests that you
myself
would like
this
to share.
long and so much in a
I mean, that's
long
good,
time.
you
I'm
know,
not
like
mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all because I'm thinking about it too. But yes, I haven't talked about myself this much in a long time. But go ahead. What was the question?
yeah. It's just like what do what guests do you hope to, meet within the coming year? What events you hope to attend? You know, what's on the horizon for Revive Radio, you know? What can we expect
Um,
from you in the coming months?
well, right now I just got into this fellowship program with LinFest, so I am focused on school right now. So, it's a fellowship program. It's not really like college or attending like a university or anything like that, but it's definitely an educational and a knowledgeable resource for the wealth of information that I need. So that's really where my focus is right now. So it's a 8 month program. So I'll be doing that for the next 8 months. So that's where my focus is right now, and then seeing where I can what I can take from all of the knowledge and education that I'm gonna get from here, all the resources and opportunities I'm gonna get from here, and see what expands from there. So I want to take this stepping stone as a milestone. So I'm just gonna focus in on the fellowship for sure.
Okay. Okay. I like this. All right. Well, we're closing in on the episode. So at this time, we typically go around, and kind of get a synopsis of the episode. So what's like something lasting that you would like to leave with the folks as we get up out of here for this evening?
I want like on some real, like if you're listening, you popped up, you showed up. But if this is recorded and gonna be posted somewhere, somebody can listen back for real. Like, Revive is truly alive because of the people who support, listen, and continue to just show love throughout every year that we've been running and airing, and really just been on our stuff. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is wrapping up our 5th year. Not many people make it to 5 years, you know what I'm saying? So we're wrapping up our 5th year as we head into 2023. And I'm just excited to be able to say that, and the different levels and things that I've achieved, is all given because of just like the amount of support that is really shown. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know it's probably corny to hear it because you probably hear it all the time, but I'm dead serious when I say it. Being a full-time entrepreneur, like I said, this is an idea that came from my head. You don't have to bang with my ideas. The fact that you bang with my ideas, is amazing. So I just want to say thank you for sure. Thank you. But I'm not gonna let you slide like that. You said we was gonna do some topics. Like I know you had some topics for
I
me. What type of
know
topics you have for me? Come on,
we got more into
like
the nature
we
of
have to do 15 more minutes. Let's start with the topics. Let's talk about something. I talk about myself. I wasn't even prepared to talk about myself.
actually one of my follow-up questions was going to be it's talking about yourself to an extent, but it's also a topic as well, like, and it's the difficulties that you may or may not experience being a female in this space,
Okay.
So kind of just walk us through that space, like as far as like like navigating waters, whether it's building connections with other media personalities, or experiencing hate or love from them because you're a woman in this space.
No. For me, it's definitely been a roller coaster. You know what I mean? Some different industries that I've been into, they see me and they're like very shocked or very mind blown or whatever. Like especially when I jumped out there, with my gig at WHYY. Changing my audience was completely different. Me walking up to people on the street wasn't necessarily coming from West Philly anymore. It was coming from, University City or coming from the art museum area and stuff like that. So me walking up to them, black girl with long locks, like, yo, excuse me, can I talk to you? And if you see me regular, I'm dressed out in a hoodie or something like that. And they're like, oh, like, what's up? Like, so a little nervous, a little blown back. So, like I said, through just experiences and being put in different environments, doing what I love to do, I had to just find a different angle of how to approach different situations. So yeah, being a black girl in this industry is definitely, or a black woman in this industry is definitely has its ups and downs, but it's always more on the upside. Always more on the upside because being a black girl is amazing. We got that black girl magic up in us, and me just having everything in me to always show up as my full authentic self has always been able to, represent well for myself and my brand. So I don't come in trying to be something I'm not. So if you catch me like this the first time, you won't catch me like this the 100th time. You know what I'm saying? So that has always worked for me too.
Yeah. Okay.
I gotta give you flowers. That's first and foremost. There's a no, seriously, there's a spirit about you, and this is something that in person we were blessed to be able to feel and to and sit down with. But even through the course of this conversation, there's something of a certain tenacity about you that I feel that we would be remiss if we didn't point out, and I want our viewers to be listening and to acknowledge this. For whatever anybody else out there is doing, the mindset is extremely important is extremely important. There's two things that you said throughout the course of this conversation that could easily be translated as failure or stop or even quit to other people when it comes to an obstacle, when it comes to a difficulty, or things that might prove otherwise harder for them to be able to reach their goals. And that's angles and learning curve. So you're the person, you're a type of person, you have a mind where, you know, you understand that there's more ways to gut a fish and to, you know what I'm saying, to prepare dinner, you know what I mean? So definitely want to give you your flowers regarding that.
And when it's and when majority of a lot of things that you're doing, you know, you're self-taught, you have to teach yourself multiple ways of how to do it, because if you don't, you're going to get stuck when it doesn't work the way that you thought it was going to work. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us get stuck in general because when it doesn't work out plan A the way that we see it, we're like, dang, like I'm done, I quit, I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? So if you like personally, like I said, like a lot of the things that I've done is self-taught, and a lot of the things I've done, you know what I mean? Some of it I had to do by myself. So I automatically had to have a plan B just going into a situation, you know, just in case it didn't work, because I couldn't just walk back out, because if I walk back out, that's my paycheck for the day. You know what I mean? If I walk back out, that's not me, you know, having what I need for the month or whatever it may be, because I walked out of a gig because my plan A didn't work. And no one who's paying you to do something wants to hear that, oh, I'm missing this, so I didn't know this was going to work with your sound speaker, because when I was at home, it was working with my microphone. Like, don't nobody want to hear none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had to come with a plan B at all times. Like, like, let me just be ready for whatever. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I'm trying to build a production, you know, like I'm not just trying to turn on my phone and be like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? It's your girl PLC. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, everything I want to do, I want to do in a way where it represents the brand in a very, you know, special type of way. Because
So
Vice started from a, you know what I'm saying, a actual camera, and now look at Vice right now, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it can happen. It can happen.
and that kind of just fall in line with my next question for you. What do you look for when you're like adding people to your team? Like, what's the mindset of the character or the personality traits that you look to work with? Like, as far as like incorporating it with Revive. Like, I'm sure, like, you know, when you're interviewing and when you're in other spaces, you know, you'll get the choice to select the personalities that you want to work with. But with Revive personally, like, what do you look for that stands out where you're just like, okay, I want to work with you, or I want to take your talents on to help me, you know, further my dreams?
I don't necessarily go looking for anything, you know what I'm saying? What's for me is for me. So most of the people who come my way, they come my way in a spirit of saying like, yo, I love what you're doing and I want to know how I can help. If you're coming to me saying like, yo, how I can help you, we already done deal, you know what I mean? Versus coming to me talking about how I can help you. So, I think that I really learned how to weed through the BS, you know, and really take what the love that's given to me, you know, and I'm understanding also like I'm not in a position where I can be out here paying people like we're part-time employees and stuff like that. Nah. So I accept and respect what is given, you know what I mean? So you can give me 2 hours, I'm gonna take those 2 hours, but then I will do the editing. You don't even gotta do, you know, the rest of the stuff. I could do the editing or something like that because we work together. But you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get credit on production because you did the videography or something like that, you know. So being able to have those barter kind of agreements is also something that I'm looking to work with right now on this level for sure. So yeah, I go for love, you know what I mean? Like, I know the price so corny, can I go for love? Like, if you showing love, it is what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then
For real, for real. I just wanted to say, go ahead, Dash. That sounds for those that know, you know what real
Yeah.
commodity is, and it's
Yeah.
deeper than just this. But go ahead,
Yeah.
Dash.
oh no, I like that. With that and said, like, I just kind of wanted to go back to the freedom of speech a little bit, you know, and just because you said something earlier as we were wrapping up, and you said like you learn things in first time speed of how to deal with things. So with that said, like, how have you managed, you know, like not only your voice but the voice of others, like when you're speaking on the platform, and not to offend others or have them feel offended with what you're saying? How has that, you navigation been for you?
First, let me give a shout out before I do that. I want to shout out Exhibit A because she's been rocking with me for at least like 3 years now. On the production, making sure that everything's great on the videographer, photographer side. So like when it comes down to team, she's like literally been rocking with me 100%, 100 grand. So I definitely wanted to shout her out. But to answer your question, I don't put myself in that space where I'm going to sit there and overthink before I do anything. Because the conversation, once again, wouldn't be organic. You know what I mean? The conversation will be me simply trying to be somebody that I'm not. So if I know that I'm going to be, walking a very tight rope, if I am talking about a sensitive topic, I would do my research. I would do my research. I would do my research. I would make sure that I'm simply prepared for what I'm about to talk about. I'm not going to go in there just talking about something based on something that I read or based off, a reel that I seen on Instagram. Like I'm gonna make sure that I'm talking about something that I can back up because that's where I said what I said. I ain't say it for no reason. I say what I said, and this is where you can find it at. You know what I mean? Or this is where you can go get it at yourself if you want to figure it out. So yeah, I don't really go in there overthinking like, oh man, no, I do my research. And if I got an opinion, I got an opinion. Everything's not for everybody. And not everybody's going to agree with me. I think that is the power of freedom of speech because now we can have dialogue. Now I can see where you coming from, you can see where I'm coming from, and we don't have to understand each other to see where we're coming from. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the power of freedom of speech is everyone being able to have their opinion because we're all made and shaped differently, based on environments and experiences.
Now, have you ever said or had a guest say something that your audience just took the wrong way? And you just kind of had to just, kind of at some point just be like, you know what, it is what it is, and let it just fester, or just kind of had to nip it in the bud?
Nah, I take full accountability for, anything and everything that's going to happen on my show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and take guilt for the fact that you feel some type of way, but I will take some ownership and I will take some credit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why on my show, I make sure that I actually have what do they call a drop where it says I'm not responsible for any words said done by the person blah 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 before the show and after the show. I make sure that I play it because like I said, I'm not just here with the camera trying to have a conversation. I'm trying to build production. So I make sure that I do all the legalities to make sure that we're good and we're covered. So I would take the full responsibility, but you're not gonna make me feel guilty about what somebody else did or how somebody else thinks. Nah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was no, I laughed because before I'm out of here, I gotta go take care of my daughter, so I gotta leave in like the next few minutes. But before I'm out of here, the reason why I laughed is because I was reminded of an instance way back when, our brother Rob Moon, who was a director and a brilliant mind, rest in peace, he recorded one of the first music videos that Kang and I were featured in. And we had some yes, indeed. And we had to talk to a couple of individuals who were in the video because there were circumstances and there were let's just say commodities that were enjoyed in the course of the video that they didn't want their persona to be misconstrued within their community because they were partaking. Mm-hmm. So I had to go up to where they live. We tried to broker some type of understanding, some type of mutual grounds for us to be on, and that's where I came across with just the idea of I'm gonna just put a disclaimer, like the things that you see in this video are just props. They're meant to represent because he wanted us to edit, and I'm just like. And my man Rob was saying the same thing. It's like, yo, is he gonna give us money to edit? Does he know what it takes to edit the whole video? Like, and it is already done. So that's why I laugh, and it also leads to one of my last questions to you is do
that with any content that you put though, because you don't reflect back on you, especially if you're like, and this is just like my opinion for any businesses or LLCs out there. You want to make sure that your brand is always represented right, so it can always fall. Yeah. I mean,
no, it's cool. That's love. That's love. Thank you for that. Thank you. That we needed that. We absolutely needed that. But as for you, was this something that you were privy to as far as either the internship, as far as the education at Cheney, education in Philly, or was that also a learning curve that you came into a brick wall, so to speak, and you were like, all right, I'm gonna have to jimmy myself out of this and figure something out so that we can keep on pushing?
Do what you see the greats do. Simple. I was listening to, how ET every morning. I was listening to a lot of different podcasts, and right before the podcast, this is what's happening. I'm like, okay, I need that. Like, oh snap, what is this? Oh, all right, bet. Let me Google this. Like, what I'm saying? Trying to figure out what the name of it is. I didn't even know what the name of it was. So I just copied what the greats do, and then once I became an established, business LLC, it made 10 times more sense of why they did what they were doing. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I like that. That's a great way to end it. My last question for the evening is really just dialing back to something you said a little earlier. I just want to touch on your relationship with Jeide,
Mm-hmm.
only because when we first did the first interview, we did it with you ladies together, and honestly, I did think at one time that you guys were sisters. So, like, just
That's my.
it's just just to get like the origin story behind that relationship and how you guys, cultivated that partnership before we slid out of here.
um, she literally did what everyone else should be doing. You know what I mean? Because you never know what the hell can happen. But she slid in my DMs and was like, "Yo, I'm a photographer in Philly. I would love to come do one of your events. Like, can I come shoot one of your events?" That's literally how we met, through direct messages. I had an event at Life Do Grow Farm. We did an event at Life Do Grow Farm. We did like a night market there. And she was the photographer for the event. And then from there, we just boom. And I was like, yo, you know how to do videography? And she was like, I don't really know how to do it. I was like, yo, we're going to learn how to do it together. Let's do this. Let's do this. Boom. We're going here. Boom, 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 boom. Let's, we doing media, red carpets, concert venues, you know what I mean? Different things. Like, everything just grew as the brand was growing, you know what I mean? So, yeah, like, we just rocked out. We've been rocking out with each other from there. And then shout out to Breezy. I see Breezy on here as well.
I know Shy Breezy
Yeah,
Jen.
Shout out to
she's
Breezy.
the
That's a fan.
cinema
Yeah.
photographer for the film that we did. We did a documentary in partnership with the Community College of Philadelphia. So being able to take that, like, even with Exhibit A, she was the executive producer. You know what I mean? So now, like, when she goes to do different film and video project and stuff, she can say I'm an executive producer. So it helps better with her, as far as being able to brand herself and things like that. So she's just been rocking since been rocking. So that's how we met. Yeah.
Was that the film on gun violence?
Yep. Yep.
How was that experience for you guys? I meant to always ask, like, and what kind of inspired you guys to want to step into that, to share that story? Because like, the gun violence is out of control in Philadelphia, but what kind of motivated
Well,
you guys?
for me, it came through the partnership with the Center for Gun Violence Prevention here in the city of Philadelphia, and then from there they tagged me in with the Community College of Philadelphia. So for me, it was always something that I wanted to do as far as passion. I wanted to be able to create a film over it or whatever, and be able to tell stories that I wanted people to tell their stories. Like, I wanted to come from a perspective of people who occupy the city in multiple spaces. So that's how I got kind of the student idea. And then when it comes down to connecting with Breezy and Exhibit A for the gig, I was like, if I'm paying anybody, I'm paying my dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying anybody, I'm paying my friends, I'm putting them on. Like, these are people who've been working with me for free, for different things, different events. So, like, if I'm now getting a budget to do something I love, of course I'm gonna make sure they get broke off first. And it was also a learning curve. None of us has ever done a documentary. Well, me and Exhibit A did our documentary first, but not on this caliber of what we did this time around. So we have never, and we didn't have a deadline. When me and Exhibit A did it, we did it off the strength of just me having an idea. I was like, yo, this is my idea. We go into the barbershop and I got to get it off. You know what I mean? So that was the first one with the notepad. The notepad actually did an amazing job. It was sponsored by Venture Cafe. Like, it was a great time. Yeah. So I have 2 documentaries under my belt, and I'm actually trying and working with the grace of God to be on my 3rd one by 2023. Yeah.
All right, fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Hopefully, we're gonna hear another one.
Yeah. A lot of storytelling. That's what I want to do for sure.
Is there a certain story that you would like to tell next? Like, if everything falls in your favor.
Um, Not necessarily. I want it to be more scripted. Like I wanna write, and I wanna have actors based on some things like that. It would be more scripted. If that answers the question. Yeah.
Okay, I could definitely dig that.
Mhm.
We definitely need more scripted shows to begin with.
Yeah, scripted. It would be more scripted. Like I would want to write it.
I actually just seen like a tweet not too long ago on Twitter where one of the users were actually complaining about that, like how we went from a society of going from like 20 to 30 scripted shows to it going to like 10 to 15 to now we get like 8 episodes of a show and then we're waiting for a
The
year before we get the second season. It's just like, what happened to TV? So like hearing that is just, inspiring.
And I want to do trailers too. I know we gotta go, but my last thing I want to say is like I want to do movie trailers too. So if you somebody out there, you got a movie or something like that, you look for somebody to do your trailers, please hit me up. Like I'm an inspiring trailer director for sure.
Okay. What about the whole film director? Is
Oh
there
yeah,
adventures as well?
I'm already in that space. You know what I mean? But I want to take someone else's project who has already created the film, and then it's my job to take 90 seconds of a 90-minute movie and create a fantasy behind it. Like I want to do that. Like I'm really eager to do that. And I have nothing to do with creating the project. You know what I mean? Like I'm simply just watching and I'm like, what can I take out of here? What can I take out of here? What can I take out of here to create a trailer for somebody else to watch? You know what I mean? Like I'm aspiring to do that. Like I want to do that. I love doing that.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Love to see that. You know, all right, POC.
All right,
You got
no
a lot of
doubt.
things. You got a lot of things expected for you within the coming years.
Thank you.
We sending many blessings
Yes,
your way, hoping
yes.
everything unfolds the way you want it to unfold. So, is there anything upcoming that you want to promote, or like let people know, that's on the way?
No, just really just thank you all. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please continue to love and tune into Revive Radio. Please continue to click that link in my bio. It's gonna take you directly where you need. Revive is alive, Revive is alive, reviveisalive.com. You know what I'm saying? Like just stay locked in with us. We got a lot going on this year. Shout out to Exhibit A. We were just speaking
Jumped
about
in. Yeah.
about it. Yep. Can we join her in real quick? Exhibit A, you trying to join? Let's ask first. We need to ask first. But yeah.
Yeah,
We
so
got
that she gonna hop.
yeah, if you want to hop in today, hop in with us. But yeah, so just stay locked in with Revive Radio and what we got going on. We got a lot coming up in 2023. We got a lot of different media production things that we will be rolling out as far as interviews, pre-recorded things that we've done. So just stay locked in with our content, man. I appreciate y'all for always rocking out with us, man. This year we're going into year 6. We're going into year 6, man. So yes, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for sure.
So Exhibit A says she's not camera ready, but Revive is still alive.
Gang, for sure, man. But I appreciate you for having me. Thank you. I haven't talked about myself this much in forever, so thank you.
One last question for you before we slide up out of here, though.
Right.
And this is really just a personal question for me, like, are you guys going to be premiering music? Because, my boy Kang, he does the music and I love his music. So for me, anytime I get the chance to speak to anybody in the media, I'm always pushing his music. So are you guys?
Done deal. Group has already sent me a couple tracks, which is spinning right now on revivesalive.com, and it also drops on Fridays. I have them in the rotation on Fridays for 98.5 already. So yeah, that's a done deal. That's a given. That's a given. Yeah, that's a done deal. But yes, man, if you got any new music, artists out there, you got something that we can listen to, some brand new flavors for our ears, man, please hit me up, revive.poc@gmail.com. We do nothing but clean tracks. We are Reddit, Edio type of people over here because everything we do is live, so we can't be, bleeping out and all that good stuff. So send us your Reddit, Edio music, and we got you. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's some brand new flavors for our ears, we're gonna definitely play you.
Okay, got you. I actually might have a few artists for you, honestly.
Yeah. So each and every Friday we do something called Free Balls Friday on 98.5, where we get an artist a chance to play two other tracks. And we let the artists, talk they trash. We let the listeners, like, what I'm saying, see if it was fire or not. You know what I'm saying? If it was good or not. So yeah. So if you got some artists, please send them my way. Hit me up. Or you can follow us Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also at Revive_POC. And we're also at YouTube at Revive_POC as well.
Right. Everybody make sure y'all follow those sites.
Yeah.
Y'all like, follow, subscribe, share the content. tune in.
Mm-hmm.
You said every Friday, right?
Every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m., 98.5, but we're streaming 365, 24/7, a.m. to the p.m. at revivesalive.com. You can check out all of our new interviews, exclusive interviews, all that good stuff on the website. Just click that big play button. Man, when you get there, click the subscribe button so you can subscribe to our newsletter. We won't spam your inbox, but we definitely want you to stay locked with everything we got going on. So if you subscribe to our newsletter, we will send you a newsletter once a month. So just, got everything in there that you need to know.
Hey,
Yeah.
I like that. So, guys, make sure you do all that. Make sure y'all also subscribe to the PVM YouTube channel as well, the PVM
Do you say
Patreon.
these?
Huh? You said
Do you say
what?
these?
Yes.
Okay.
This is going to actually go up on our YouTube channel,
Okay.
and it's going to be available on our Instagram as well, even though we archive the screen. So we kind of try to force you to go to YouTube until we got the Patreon officially set up where honestly at the top of next year it's going to be Patreon exclusively. Like you guys will just be able to watch the episodes on Patreon or YouTube. So we had a link to let you know like when new episodes are coming up. Ooh, I like that exhibit.
He was just telling the story of how he was asking how do we meet and how we get everything started, and I was telling him how everything started with the DM, and then it went from the Life Do Grow farm, and then from there it just went from red carpets to concerts and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you tapping in, man, and thank you always for showing love to Revive Radio. Yo. I appreciate you too, sir, for us making this happen and your patience with me. You know what I'm saying? So thank you.
No, thank you for tuning in,
Yeah.
and coming and joining us. Like, I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
because I
Sorry,
love
let
our
me.
last
Yeah,
interview.
that's what I said. Let me know when it go up so I can repost. That's literally what I was asking. So let me know when it goes up so I can just repost everything.
All right, I got
All
you.
right.
All right, so will you close us out like how you typically close out Revive Radio?
I got you,
Last
man.
request for the night,
I got you. Yep to the yep. You already know what time it is, man. It's your girl POC. Turn your radios up, spread the word, spread the message. Man, Revive is alive 365, 24/7 a.m. to the PM because of you. Yes, you. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Revive _ POC is the place where you need to be. Yes, man. Click that link in my bio to take you directly where you need to be at Revive _ POC, man. Shout out to everybody who tuned in. We truly appreciate you. Don't get at me, get with me. Let's go. All right, yo. I appreciate you. I'm really logging off, yo. I got you.
Hey, and tune into a new episode of PVM next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys then. Until then, peace and blessings, fam.